And we're live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to, I almost said the Paper Movies podcast. Welcome to the Star Wars Legends podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy, and my other host is Dylan.
Hello.
We're both very dirty men and green.
This is what happens when you tell people they can't leave their homes for what has it been, 6-7 months now?
Yeah,
I've lost count. I used to do the thing they do in prisons where they'll mark the days and tack marks on the wall, but there's no more room on my wall.
His urine wall. Anyway, so we have a lot of things to discuss today. The first is to the individual who keeps flagging the paper movies again. The individual who keeps flagging the Legend podcast, please stop. You're kind of being embarrassing. Stop. It's not funny. It's actually really irritating that I get 5 emails saying that you flagged the podcast. So please stop. It's not like it's going away on other sites where people download them. That's all. You want to talk some Alan Dean Foster?
Yeah. Oh, we got people. Papa Wedge and Rob D. Hello.
Hello. And hello, Jeffrey. Let's talk some Alan Dean Foster's going through some rough times, apparently.
Yeah, so if you haven't heard, I believe this leaked on Wednesday about 3 or 4 our time.
Something like that. Both you and Quality Autism sent this to me right around the same time.
Yeah, so the Science Fiction Writers of America, or SFWA as they're usually called, which is it's not exactly a union, but it's a nonprofit that operates like one.
It's a guild. It's like SAG, the actors.
Yeah, but basically they came forward with a claim from Alan Dean Foster that he hasn't been paid his royalties from his novelizations that he has written, specifically the novelization of A New Hope, the Splinter the Mind's Eye, and they also list the Alien Trilogy novelizations. Now, in the latter case, they claim that he has not been paid these royalties for some time. I think he says not since he says in his statements that they were paying them and then they stopped, but it doesn't say when they stopped. And he also mentions that the payments for the royalties on the Aliens novelizations stopped around the time that Disney bought 20th Century Fox.
Yeah, it's unfortunate if this is true.
Yes.
We need to preference this. We're going to preference it here on Legends podcast that this is alleged. We don't know for sure that this is happening, but there are some questionable business things going on here that honestly, I'm just going to throw it out here, I'm not surprised about.
Right. Now, there's a few other things. His team have claimed that they tried to contact Disney about them, and Disney wanted Foster to sign an NDA prior to negotiating the settlements. Now, recently it has come out. I found 2 websites that today wrote articles about this, and in each of them, one by the Wrap and the other by the New York Post, and each of them reached out to Disney for a comment on them, and they said he was not sent a formal MDA, but was asked to acknowledge confidentiality as they approached the settlement. And both have also and both articles also say that when they talked with the Disney representative, that they have re-engaged with Alan Dean Foster and Sifwa about the details of the claims. Now, another thing that they have said in these two, this is coming again. This is like third-hand information because this is these news articles who have released articles today that reached out to Disney, and what the Disney spokesperson has told them is that they've been in contact about, they knew about and had been in contact for over a year now about the issues with the Alien novels. However, to this point, they did not know that there were also issues with the Star Wars novels. And so those are the three main updates on this, if you haven't really been following it, coming from the Disney representatives as reported through the news articles that are coming out at this today. Now, I've also, there's like a Facebook live video of Alan Dean Foster, his agent, and the SIFWA president, where they go over a lot of the allegations, and they also do claim that how it all happened was that Alan Dean Foster checked a royalty statement to see if they were coming in, and that they noticed to what he was bringing in, and that he noticed that they had stopped. They are concerned that they may be doing this to other authors, specifically that when with the royalty statement, they contacted Warner Publishing, which is the company, the publisher that published the Alien novels.
Originally, now
the original Alien novels,
Titan Books.
Yeah, but they're currently the one that's in charge of the publishing. And after like a back and forth between them and his agent and the SIFWA representative, they finally relented and saying that they need to speak with Disney. That's not to say that the Star Wars books are necessarily Disney's responsibility. I think Eckhart's Ladder pointed this out, that contract, it might be Del Rey that's on the hook for it, or it might be Lucasfilm, depending on how that contract worked. But at least for the Alien novels, it looks like it is in fact Disney that is responsible for it. And also in that statement, it was streamed live, and Michael Copabianco, who is the husband of the late A.C. Crispin, and is therefore the holder of the rights to the A.C. Crispin estate, she reached out to ask if her wife's books were also being targeted for that, in which they were. I believe the SIFWA president told them to meet with them privately to discuss it more, or send anything in so that they can see if they've also been affected, because he didn't seem to know either. So it's possible that other writers are being affected by this. Also, which hasn't really been stated on a lot of articles I've seen, is that Alan Dean Foster is specifically mentioning 5 of his books, that being the A New Hope novelization, Splinter of the Mind's Eye, and the Alien trilogy. So Alien, Aliens, and Aliens 3. He has not mentioned 4 of his other books that he has published since then. The Approaching Storm, which was in 2002, the Force Awakens novelization in 2015, and in 2017 he wrote the Alien Covenant novelization and another book, Alien Covenant Origins,
which have both been reviewed on the channel. Go check them out.
So he hasn't mentioned any of those or his legal team. I'm wondering if so that leads me to believe they're either not been affected, or that those contracts were written differently in a way that he is not getting royalties from them. Because if it was just the newer books, if like Approaching Storm was also in it, but it's the newer books, then I think the theory that they're just not paying him out on contracts he wrote before the acquisition is true. But because Approaching Storm is there, I'm wondering if that one just had a weird contract where he's not getting royalties for it, or whatnot. But it also does. Actually, I should have looked this up. But when were those Alien novels actually published? Covenant and
Alien would have been like 79. Alien
no, I'm talking about the 2017 ones.
Because no, those would have been 2016, 2017, something like that.
They both said 2017, but the Disney acquisition of 20th Century Fox happened in December. Mm-hmm. So if that buyout if those two novels were already out like month-wise before then that would again be further credence. And I actually have a theory on a timeline of what happened, because he specifically again mentioned since that they bought Fox, and all of the inquiries so far and when they were talking about it and from the Disney recs seemed that to be that it's the Aliens ones that started this, and then the Star Wars ones were added on later. I think what happened was that he noticed, since he had the two new novels that were out, the two Alien novels, he looked into, this is all speculation on me, but just from the facts that we know, he looked into the royalties on those, noticed that he wasn't receiving any royalties, including for the Aliens ones, found out that those ones are still on the shelves, then went out to Warner Publishing through his agent, got them to eventually admit that it was Disney, and then filed complaint with Disney that has been ongoing for the last year. And in that time, he's also noticed that he has not been received royalties for the Star Wars books. I think that's the most likely scenario of what's been going down and how it's been going down, though I can't confirm it other than just trying to piece together all the information that we know currently.
Seems reasonable. But if this is true, this is a very dangerous time for any independent contractor in the creative field. Not necessarily like they said in the press conference. It's not just writers that should be worried about this. Authors, it should be the artists should be worried about this too. Any sort of creative, if this is the case, because the verbiage they used in the press conference was they had the right to pay him, but they didn't feel obligated to.
Mm-hmm.
That could be fabricated to a certain extent.
Yeah, the way that his team put it was that they had bought the rights, but like the rights to publish, but not the liabilities. And the contracts, because specifically speaking, like the way that the contracts worked was that he gets paid to write the novels, and then he also gets paid royalties from each novel sold. So any books that are sold, he takes or should at least take a cut of those.
Yeah, it's kind of insane. But yeah, I have a suggestion for those of you who want to read some of his works, because he has some really great works in both Star Wars and Alien. You find them a lot used in the used bookstores and stuff. Go track them down that way for the time being until this is resolved. And I hate to do this because, like, it could already be resolved and we don't know it. But just to be safe, if an author isn't getting paid for their work, then we need to, as fans, need to not necessarily support that. But then again, this is alleged.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I just checked it up. Now it's not getting me Covenant Origins. So yeah, it looks like Alien Covenant came out in September, and Covenant Origins came out in August. So both before the buyout. Mm-hmm. He also said in that in that press conference that he had a similar dispute with 20th Century Fox, because he's written a lot of novelizations of movies.
Yeah, he's like the king of novelizations.
So he didn't specify which one it was, but he said he had another dispute with 20th Century Fox that was pretty much, as soon as he brought it up with them, was resolved in like very, very like quickly and efficiently.
Mm-hmm. But this was some time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, any closing thoughts on this, Dylan?
It's unfortunate if all this is true. I'd hope to see a resolution to this and any updates as well. Especially as they mentioned, if any other authors have been affected by this, or they've also alluded to the fact that some of the newer authors might not know how the industry works and how contracts are supposed to work, so they could be like doing shady stuff in that way. And even on some authors who have responded to this on Twitter are also saying that this sets a bad precedent for if a publishing company, for example, if like the whole like the assets transfer but the liabilities don't like holds, then like a company can essentially license you for something that would they can license you for something. You produce that something for the company, and then they sell it off to a subsidiary. And since they sold it off, they don't have to pay you the licensing and the royalties anymore. So that's an issue that some people are having with it, with this situation that have been brought up. Yeah, just it's unfortunate, and the more people to know, the better. Because apparently, at least according to the newer articles, the quote unquote outrage about this has worked, and that Disney, at least according to them, have re-engaged in talks about this situation. So hopefully this all gets resolved.
Yeah. I want to move on to a lighter topic.
Yeah.
I saw Empire Strikes Back in the theater.
Okay.
There's some things that I noticed that I've never noticed before.
All right,
so
here we go.
Reference, Empire turned 40. Happy birthday, Empire. Turned 40 a few months ago. Now,
May 22nd, I believe.
A month ago, I think. Yeah. It surprised my dad because that's his favorite Star Wars movie. It was the first Star Wars movie he ever saw. So he went and saw it in the theater because I'd never seen any of the original trilogy in the theater. And I said, okay, I'm going to pay some money to watch this for one night.
The 21st, that was a day off.
Anyway, they showed the Blu-ray version on the big screen. I should have basically expected it. For some reason, I thought, man, they're gonna get a film projector out. We're gonna watch the original version. I don't know why I thought that, but it was Blu-ray. Can I just say the Cloud City stuff that they changed in the special edition looks awful? It's so bad, Dylan. Literally, them running through the hallways and they paint out the hallways. You know what I'm talking about. The scene when R2-D2 realizes he's just been wandering around for a while and finds all of them. Originally, that's in a hallway. Well, they paint the hallway out to make it look like an outside hallway. And it looks so bad. It's the worst effect I've seen in Star Wars in a while. But other than that, it's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Other than the hallway Bespin scenes.
Yeah, when they make the hallways into outside for George reasons.
They're going to show Do you honestly think they're going to show the theatrical version?
I don't know why I thought that, but I thought maybe the theater would have a film print.
I'm almost convinced that they don't exist, or they're just like under, like they're in like a vault of like a safe deposit.
They were damaged. That was the issue back in 97. Because the film stock they used back in the 70s and early 80s was terrible. And they were so deteriorated. That's why they went in and cleaned them up digitally. And then George got out of hand and put a bunch of CGI garbage in there. But yeah, that's why the despecialized editions that's an additional thing that makes it so difficult. But they're owned by one of the biggest film corporations in the world. You think that there is a big enough market for them to release these in 4K, do a 4K restoration. People do 4K restorations on things all the time. Literally, Apocalypse Now has a 4K restoration. It came out around the same time.
Yeah, and as stated before, they own 20th Century Fox now, so they, even with those like contracts that that Lucas had originally signed with Fox, where like I think for A New Hope, like Fox never basically has rights to it in perpetuity, but like Disney has that now, so they have these films.
It's literally a non-issue. But we can talk about the thing that is coming out that we've discussed before. Star Wars Insider short stories are being released.
Oh, wow.
Did you actually know about this one?
No.
Oh, yeah, no. Like March, they're doing a volume 1 of a bunch of and it's all Legends, short stories.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I did not know about this.
Yeah, it's around the same time they're releasing the Epic Collection for Dark Empire. So March will be a loaded month. Well, spring will be a loaded month for some EU. Also, for those of you, now that we're on the topic of EU to look out for that's being re-released, Tales of the Jedi Epic Collection Volume 1 comes out December 4th.
Which isn't Tales of the Jedi. It's Dawn of the Jedi. Tales of the Jedi, Dawn of the Jedi.
Nonetheless, Dylan, very excited for this. Because it will lead to some more Tales of the Jedi. Some actual Tales of the Jedi. Let's be real. Dawn of the Jedi is Tales of Jedi.
They're not called Jedi, though. They're
called Jedi, but still, they use the Force. They're Jedi.
Here's what I'm worried about, right? Because Dawn of the Jedi does not start out great. It gets good by the end. And then, like, Tales of the Jedi, when you read it chronologically, Hyperspace War is not nearly as good as, like, the later parts of it. So what I'm worried about is we're all going to be talking about how Tales of the Jedi is one of the greatest Star Wars comics ever. Some guy's going to read it, or gal is going to pick them up in the Epic collections and have to trudge through Dawn of the Jedi and Hyperspace War before actually getting to the good bits. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, but to be fair, Dawn of the Jedi is not that bad. It's actually pretty good. Just Tales of the Jedi is so much better than Dawn of the Jedi. Let's see. What else was coming out? Oh, we just had an Epic Collection come out like a month or two ago. The Empire Volume 6, which had Agent of the Empire and Force Unleashed in it. And some other things. So I think the Empire series of Epic Collections is done. Well, no, there's still probably has one volume left. So that's probably why they're bringing out Tales of the Jedi now. Although it'd be nice if they did an Old Republic Volume 4. Because Old Republic literally only has KOTOR, Dylan. That's all it has. KOTOR and I think 2 Tales stories that fit in that time.
They didn't put the 6 Old Republic one-shots for the
No, it's just KOTOR. That's why I want an Old Republic Volume 4, because I think there's one Tales of the Jedi. Well, actually, they'll throw the Tales of the Jedi Tales story. That's weird the way to say it.
That's probably where you have to put Knight Errant, too.
During Tales of the Jedi?
No, Old Republic.
Yeah. Well, so what I thought was going to happen was they were just going to make a Knight Errant one. But, like, you also have Jedi versus Sith. That's be thrown in there. You have Lost Tribe of the Sith Spiral.
Oh, yeah.
That has to be in there somewhere.
Old Republic Miscellaneous?
Old Republic Miscellaneous, yeah, pretty much. Drive me nuts putting it on my shelf in that corner over there, but, Because
and then all those tour or the SWTOR, the
old
SWTOR spin-offs.
Yeah, that nonsense. But that does need to go in there. There's some okay stuff in there. Okay. That's probably why they haven't done it, is because a lot of it's crap.
I mean, SWTOR is still somewhat popular. People still play it.
Yeah, but to be fair, you know what they did? One of their first volumes, the Epic Collection had? Shadows of the Empire Evolution. That's in the New Republic Volume 1, along with Mara Jade by the Emperor's Hand. Which, those are the big two, and it's a bunch of tales after that.
It's always tales.
There's a lot of tales in the early New Republic stuff. A lot of tales comics that are just...
Tales is the seat fillers of comics.
And it's so weird, Dylan, because I've been reading Rise of the Sith Volume 1, about halfway through that. It opens with just Mace Windu Tales comics.
Oh, no.
What a terrible way to open your book. I get that they're trying to go in chronological order, but
that's none of the Republic stuff.
No, not in the first Rise of the Sith volume. Actually, yes, Vow for Justice ends up happening, which is 4-6.
Because what was the series that became Republic again?
It was just called Star Wars.
It was just called Star Wars? Okay. But there's none of that in there?
There's a little bit, like I said, the issues 4-6, Vow for Justice. There's Jedi Council Acts of War is one of the big ones in there. And Jedi Volume 1, The Dark Side, which was a failed attempt to have a Qui-Gon Xanatos story. Which I just read that. It's pretty decent.
Open season should be around that. If they're doing chronologically, it should be around that time.
That's in Menace Reveal Volume 1, which is out of print, and I don't have it. Frustrates me. I actually bought a bunch of Epic collections that were out of print the other day and spent too much money. I bought Clone Wars Volumes 1 and 2, so now I have Jabeam. I finally own Jabeam again. Dylan.
It's a good one.
I also own Darth Maul Death Sentence, because that's in there for some reason. But here's another thing to be brought up with the Clone Wars ones, because they just released Volume 3 this year. It was back in spring, and I have that one. None of those have the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars Adventures, or they don't have the Dave Filoni Clone Wars comics, except for Darth Maul Death Sentence.
They probably don't know where they fit in the timeline.
It leads me to believe they will just do like Clone Wars. They'll call it Clone Wars Adventures, and they'll just put all of like those, because they were kind of kiddie. Kind of just throw all those together, because they also, the same thing with the Rebellion era stuff. They haven't done any of the Star Wars Adventures, which was the spinoff of Clone Wars Adventures, which was another kind of fun thing they did for kids. That actually got a Dark Horse Omnibus, so they could just reprint that. And they throw in the Ewoks spinoff they were going to try to do, where they have a little Ewoks. They were all digest-sized people. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, they were digest-sized graphic novels that were like $2.95. They were a really good deal, or like $3.95, something like that. They were really cheap back in the day. I ate those up like nobody's business. They came out when I was like, probably 10 or 11. Some of my early EU readings came from those. You would find them. My mom, I don't remember where my mom found, she found like volume 5 or something. And she's like, oh, here's some Star Wars. I read it in a day. Read it in an hour, probably, be completely honest. And then paged through it and stared at pictures for a while, because that's what you do when you have a comic, because get your money's worth out of it. But yeah, I'm trying to think of what Epic collections they have left to complete, because they have most of the prequel stuff now. They have one more volume of Clone Wars, probably, of their main.
They have Shadows of the Empire, as Rob D. point out, which hasn't been collected yet.
Yeah, well, they're not done with Rebellion. The Rebellion's going to have another volume.
They have the rest of Tales the Jedi, but they're obviously going to get to that.
Yeah, that's future.
Have they gotten to Legacy 2 yet?
They haven't gotten to Legacy 2 yet. I think they just finished Legacy 1. With they have their third volume of Legacy Epic Collections. So they have that, which means that Vector is completely collected now, or is about to be collected, because I don't know if that's going to be put in as the Empire Epic Collection. God, what else?
Kind of wish the Infinities Epic Collection included Vision of the Blade.
And
I swear, one of my favorite things ever about the last... What?
And Force Fiction, like all of these things that are super stupid, or the George R. Binks story.
No, I was going to say one of my favorite things about the last 6 years is the fact that the Infinities Epic Collection has both the Legends and the Infinities logo on it.
Oh, I know. And that was one of the first ones, too.
Yeah.
And that's out of print. That's hardcore out of print.
It's non-canon within the non-canon. That's how non-canon it is.
Oh, you know what they need to finish is the original Marvel years.
Oh, yeah.
2 volumes of that.
You think they'll add 108 to that?
Oh, they'd
have to, right?
They would, absolutely. I think they're being slow on that because there might be a 109. I wouldn't be surprised if they just did another Marvel Star Wars issue. I really appreciate that 108.
That was a lot better than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Even not having read any of the old Marvel comics.
I mean, they explain certain things to tie things together that hadn't been explained yet.
They didn't kill Jackson like I thought they were when he came up, and I'm like, oh no, is this how Jackson's gonna die?
No, they don't need to kill Jackson. But there's a canon thing I actually wanted to talk to you about.
Okay.
Now that we're here, I totally just remembered this because I talked to Matt Wilkins, I talked to Geek Static, and Bryant, what is your freaking name? Bryant VRM.
Okay.
Formerly known as Bryant's Nerd Pub. We all had a discussion. Clone Wars, The Lost Missions, not canon.
You mean the season 6?
Yeah,
season 6?
Season 6.
Those aren't canon within Disney canon?
No, they're not canon in Legends.
Oh.
I'm going to argue why.
You don't need to. I agree.
Okay, cool. They contradict so much, and that's when the Fives' finale happens in the chips. And it's so contradictive, I don't know how you could write it in.
Mm-hmm.
So I would argue that season is not canon.
Yeah, like, I forget who said this, but, like, some YouTuber made a video about it, and, like, they literally quoted the line from the Revenge of the Sith novelization when, like, Cody gets Order 66, and he says, like, you could have at least told me this before he gave him back his lightsaber. Like, that's clearly someone that's, like, just, like, was bred to follow orders, doesn't have a chip that's telling him what to do.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, man, I can't, why did this order have to come in now? Oh, well, I'll do it.
Also, the 501st being bred not on Camino.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
Oh, Robsy makes a point. Invasion hasn't been collected.
Yeah, they're going to continue the New Republic stuff for another couple volumes because neither is Crimson Empire isn't collected.
Really? None of Crimson Empire is collected yet?
No, that'll be next after Dark Empire. So 2022 probably is when that will show up, which is frustrating. So no Crimson Empire yet. No Jedi Academy Leviathan. No Chewbacca. No Union. Those are the big ones, but there's definitely Tales short stories.
Oh, I don't know if you saw Matt's stream, but we found someone that liked Union.
Oh. Why?
Because they're like, they love weddings. It was like wedding fan service, and that's why they loved it.
It's got some beautiful art of weddings, that's for sure.
There's two weddings.
with the same people. They literally have 2 weddings. There's a Jedi wedding, and then there's like the wedding. Gosh, do we want to segue into what we're reading?
Sure, I'm easy. I'm still reading the same thing I was reading last time. I've been too busy with school to actually pick this up and finish it.
Well,
it's not a bad book. It's not a bad book. It's not like I can't finish it because like I can't get through it. It's just I've been too busy.
Okay, hang on. Rob Diaz posted a paragraph here.
The chips need to exist for the context of Clone Wars. Since they made the clones actual characters, it makes no sense for them to just turn on their generals without something forcing them to.
I would disagree. I would absolutely disagree because the Clone Wars comics already did that.
Yeah, and again, not all the clones turned. There were several clones that stayed loyal in what?
Karen Travis.
In Karen Travis, some of them ordered, some of them didn't. But there's also another Republic Commando squad in the third book of the Dark Lord trilogy, the Rise of Darth Vader. They stay loyal they stay loyal and help the Jedi escape, and then are killed later.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Dave Filoni's an idiot. Is that acceptable to say? Am I going to get in trouble if someone going to yell at me and talk about Ahsoka? Also, to be fair, another thing to add to the Clone Wars thing, it feels fine to end it on season 5 with Ahsoka leaving. It's thematic.
Yeah, because I guess the reason she's never brought up again is the failed Padawan that everyone just likes to forget didn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, season 7, Dylan, I don't think you understand how bad season 7 was.
I know that she basically had information that the Order 66 was going to happen and refused to tell the Jedi about that, inadvertently not inadvertently, but basically getting them all killed.
Yeah, because she didn't like Mace Windu talking down to her. Also, she is able to hold her own against Darth Maul.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well, here's the thing, right? In a vacuum, you are correct, but she was also able to hold her own against Grievous.
Which makes even less sense.
It makes even less sense, but in the power scaling of Clone Wars, that does make sense only in the power scaling of Clone Wars.
Or the power scaling of just stupid Star Wars, because Jar Jar Binks has lived through 3 movies. And 6 seasons of the Clone Wars, because he thankfully didn't show up in season 7.
Yeah, but Jar Jar was only ever in one battle.
In Clone Wars, he's in several.
I'm not talking about Clone Wars.
When he ganged up on General Grievous?
I like to forget Clone Wars ever happened. Thank you.
Oh, Dave Filoni, garbage, man.
Small time, I agree. Season 5 would have been the best way to end the series. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll stick to Gingy Tartakovsky's Clone Wars. It's a reasonable one. I'll talk about what I'm reading. I am 5 chapters away from finishing Last Command.
Ooh.
Yeah, dude. I've read the other 2 Thrawn books. I'm rereading. And oh my god, it's so good. Minus continuity errors.
Also, I need to say this. Mark Thompson, absolutely phenomenal at narrator for audiobooks. But The Last Command, the last few chapters with him going la-ook every 10 seconds.
I haven't gotten to that yet. I'm getting close though.
It really takes you out of the moment, man.
Oh god.
And I get that there's no other way to differentiate between the 2 Lukes, but it's still like.
Well, no, it's also this reread. I'm thinking because that's been in my head this whole time is that's going to happen. Jorah Sabaoth's clone refers to himself sometimes as Jaruus Sabaoth, so it makes sense the clone is crazy and doesn't refer to himself as Luke. He thinks of himself as Luke. Because he was literally bred in a month?
Yeah, something like that.
Which...
Reading Halo Oblivion and just read Star Wars Rebel Heist.
I'm sorry. You read... Oh, that's not been collected. Rebel Heist.
Oh.
I always forget that exists. I mistook... I thought when you said Rebel Heist, I thought Scoundrels. Timothy Zahn novel. That's a dumpster fire of a book.
First timeline appearance of Winter, I believe.
Is Winter in it? Okay. I don't remember. All I remember is that trying to listen to that audiobook and Mark Thompson doing the Chewbacca noises. It was the first time he does that now, by the way.
Oh, dear.
Chewbacca in like the new canon books, if Mark Thompson's doing Chewbacca, he will make Wookiee noises and he doesn't do it well.
Why can't they just use the sound effects like they did?
They do for others, because you bet that who's the guy who did the Bane books? John, the other guy, the
other one.
There's Mark Thompson, and then there's the guy who does the other ones, so the big three. Now I gotta freaking look it up.
I'm looking it up too.
Good. My phone's stuck in my pocket.
Jonathan Davis.
Jonathan Davis doesn't do that nonsense. It was really jarring when when listening to Last Shot, because there's 3 different narrators for Last Shot. Mark Thompson does present day. Jose Older does Daniel Jose Older, who wrote the book, does the Han flashbacks, and January Lavoie does the Lando flashbacks, which are different from the Han flashbacks. And
he did Revenge of the Sith too.
Yes, he did, and it's wonderful.
And Outbound Flight. Wow, how did I forget this guy's name? He's done so many of these.
He did the Bane books. He's done a ton of the new canon.
Yeah, I saw the From a Certain Point of View.
He does part of it. Everyone's doing From a Certain Point of View. Even Ashley Eckstein shows up, or Eccleston, or however, Ahsoka's voice actor. She does one, and she does one of the most ambience-inducing ones, and she co-wrote it with E.K. Johnston, which I think is secretly Ashley Eckstein. Because the ambient writer of Star Wars. What's up?
No, I was just laughing at your conspiracy theory.
Yeah, E.K. Well, yeah, because E.K. Johnston, no one ever heard of E.K. Johnston before she wrote the Ahsoka book. You know that was Ashley Eckstein. You know it was. I don't care if they put someone else's face on E.K. Johnston's Wikipedia page. That is Ashley Eckstein, if I've ever heard it. E.K. Johnston, I think I referred to her last time I had to read one of her books as the Chuck Wendig of YA novels.
Oh, she did the Padme books too.
Yeah, she did. Yes, she did. And we're not going to talk about Quality Autism's page he made. That is forbidden talk on here.
Oh, you think he made that?
What's up?
Never mind.
He's getting blamed. He's getting blamed for... I can just blame him for a lot of things.
Yeah.
For all I know, he could be flagging our videos.
It's true. Or that alt account he has.
Which one?
That is a good point.
You do it. Let's get some questions in here.
Do we have any questions from the last one?
We could. but I see that Rob D has one right now while I look up.
Absolutely. I've gone to my Barnes & Noble all the time. I 100% have more books than they do. Star Wars books, I should say, than they
You
do.
should read the question for the audience that listens to this in a podcast form and not as a live stream. Dylan, would you like to try again?
Do you guys feel like you have more Star Wars books in your local bookstores? Yes.
No. Wait. Yes, actually, now I do. Not for a while after the fire. I definitely have more comics than they do, especially the Epic collections, because I actually have most of those now, which is super Gucci. Oh my god, I didn't realize we were online. Yeah, I did. I have to go into manage videos right now and figure this out. How does this work? What is this? We have we have one comment.
Yeah, I'm reading it, and it's not really a question.
Do you know Dylan's Dark Empire hardcover? You have a hardcover of Dark Empire?
Yeah.
I used to. I got that for a steal, but now I don't. Well, I did. Did I ever tell you how I found some of my EU books after the fire when digging through my house? They were a soggy, pulpy pile. It was a very sad thing to find. My mom's like, "Oh, that's kind of funny," and I'm like, "No, you have fun digging through the house. I'm never going to come back here again." Small Time asks, "Have you guys been watching The Mandalorian?" No. Dylan was forced to watch it. I don't feel like paying for Disney Plus because I
only watched the first season.
Yeah, I only watched the first season too. I instead have watched the first season of Creepshow, which is a very wonderful show that I highly recommend. Except for the last episode, kind of sucked. Butt. Come on, people. Let's get some more questions in here. Yeah, we already talked about all of Infinity Nexus reviews. Comment. Do we have any from the previous one? Yes. No. I'm not reading Quality Autism's anything. This is great stuff right here.
This is great. Favorite Alan Dean Foster novel? That's a tough one.
That I've read, Splinter of the Mind's Eye is very fascinating.
I haven't read Splinter. So it's a tie between the A New Hope novel and The Approaching Storm.
Oh yeah, you have not read.
And you can see what the pickle I'm in.
Literally, I can't find any questions on any of these. Literally, half of them is Geeks Addict saying, "Curse the Crystal Star."
Do you think they would ever release a hardcover version of Junior Jedi Knights? I don't know.
I would love that for them to. I would love for them just to reprint them in general. Those are so hard to get. That and Galaxy of Fear. That'd be something. Because, literally, I'm so thankful that they're doing the Insider short stories. Mm-hmm. This could lead to reprinting so many things.
The problem with the young reader stuff is that the common trend within media, both and print and televised, is that for kids stuff has a shelf life of about 5 to 6 years. And after that, they grow up and they're no longer interested. So you just shelve it and you move on to the next thing. And that's just the way it is. Unless you're like a SpongeBob that can keep going for 20 plus years.
Or Or Rugrats.
Yeah.
Rugrats made it for like 13.
And you could say Star Wars has done that, but like,
Not the YA stuff. That's
yeah,
true.
not the YA stuff.
What you would do is you probably do like a limited, I hate promoting this because I hate Hasbro with the White Hot Intensity of 1,000 Suns. Because they're such a terrible toy company. But doing the crowdfunding thing where you do a limited release, like a limited run, like hardcovers for like the young adult stuff would be cool. That would be the only way to do that.
Small time favorite quality alt account. Mine is Jerry Cutswinkle.
That's me. What are you talking about? That's my OnlyFans account.
In before small time is also a quality alt account.
Rob D asks, "Are you guys into comics outside of Star Wars?" Not really.
Not really.
I read a comic called Money Shot, which I can't get into because it's a very explicit comic. It's a comedy comic that I was enjoying. I'm very behind. I'm not very good at reading that stuff. Occasionally, I'll pick up something that I bought on Comixology a while ago. Like I read some Hellraiser comics fairly recently. The ones that Clive Barker actually had a hand in creating, because I don't care if he's not involved in that. But yeah. Anything else before we're getting close to the hour mark and try to wrap this up in an hour? It's a miracle we've gotten through as much as we have in an hour.
Yeah. I think because I actually came prepared with the Alan Dean Foster stuff. For once, I come prepared to a podcast.
I'm glad because
don't get used to it.
Overtime and had to rush here. And I only had just amount of time to set up the podcast. So, yeah. All right. I think we should call it there. Dylan, are you even there? Yeah, you are.
I'm here. I'm reading.
Uzeb says, wait.
Wait, okay.
Oh, very exciting. You know what else would be a great thing to re-release? Or just release? Heart of the Jedi. I'd love a physical copy of Heart of the Jedi.
The one physical copy that who made Heart of the Jedi? What was his name?
I don't remember. I literally bought a hardcover version of that. Got refunded because it got pulled within an hour of me buying it.
Oh wait, no, the author didn't. But someone did buy the author a hardcover of it before it got pulled.
That's funny. I know you. Don't you have a paperback?
Yeah, I have a paperback.
I don't have any. It upsets me. Uzeb asks, does this mean that other Legends authors are not getting paid?
We don't know.
We don't know.
All we know is that Alan Dean Foster isn't getting paid for the 2 Star Wars books that, again, if his word is true, that the 2 Star Wars books being Splinter of the Mind's Eye and
the original
A New Hope, and A.C. Crispin's husband is contacted them and is concerned that A.C. Crispin's works might also not be being paid out royalties. Those are all the ones that have come forward, almost so to speak, so far. Kenneth C. Flint, thank you, Rob D.
Yeah, I also would love to have a copy of Skywalkers by Abel G. Pena. I mean, I've said this probably since episode 1 of this podcast. It'd be great to get Escape from Dagu.
Ooh, yeah.
That'd be a great one. Because that's not out there. There's certain things that I just love to have that are out there. I can't mention one of them, though, because we're not allowed to talk about that.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one, though.
We're not allowed to talk about Waru's Epic Adventure.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Did I say that out loud?
Geeksnarks threw up blood in his mouth. He's having an aneurysm right now thinking about that. That was the big secret. It's just ruined.
Yeah, there's only one. Allegedly, there's only one copy out there, and it's glorious, but no one knows where it went. It was in like a shipping box or whatever, and they sent it to like the wrong publisher.
It'd be awesome though. Blood Oath.
Mm.
That'd be good. But that's gone.
That's gone.
That's like when I asked Margaret Weiss about Legacy and Doom. That was a bad thing to ask her about. I've told that story way too many times on here.
You can find Skywalkers on Hungry Ewok, the EPUB at least. Okay.
You can also find it on Joe Bongiorno's site.
Yeah. Which has become the mecca of like unreleased Star Wars stuff now.
I know it literally got referenced on something I was reading, not related to like like the EU movement. Like someone's like, oh, it was a something in on Wikipedia had a link to Joe's site,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, oh, that's great.
Basically, if it's not on Joe's site, it either no longer exists or there is some sort of legal dispute that's keeping it from being public.
Oh, Adventures in Hyperspace. That's the other one I want, like a physical copy of. Even though that's out there, that'd be cool. Like have just a little omnibus. It'd just be the size of a normal paperback because those Adventures in Hyperspace books are so tiny. I have the other two. Or they could release the Scholastic Star Wars Science Adventures that only I care about.
That'll come out as soon as they
one that's out there.
That'll come out as soon as they make hardcovers of X-Wing.
That'd be so great. But no, literally, when they did the library, the leather-bound AC Crispin Han Solo trilogy, I was expecting X-Wing to be next.
What do you think of the Lord of the Rings show? I didn't know they were making a show. I've also not read Lord of the Rings, so no comment.
That's disgusting. Peter Jackson's involved. Boycott it. And with that note, we're ending the podcast. I hope you all had a good day. And we'll see you at some point. Dylan, any final thoughts?
Yeah, the last podcast, anything to go by?